It's been raining, man. So I've kind of been enjoying the break from the heat.
I have confirmed our audio is go. We are a go.
Let's go.
We're up and running. Folks the Kurtz. All right. Oh wait, hold on. I got a call coming in. I'll be right with you. Hello? Yes, I do still have him, and I'm interested. What? The 2026 third, late third. All right.
I'll do it.
Let me think about it. I gotta go do a podcast. I'll call you back. I'll call you back, fucker. All right. Sorry, I put Anthony Richardson on the trade block in one of my in dynasty leagues, and I'm fielding some offers. Okay. It's dark days.
You're gonna have to hold, man. I think you could do better.
It's dark days out here in these Anthony Richardson streets. All right, that was a theatrical enactment. Okay, that was not real, but it is real out there for somebody. Okay,
Round of
somebody
applause,
is
bro.
getting
You did
offered
great.
Conditional future third round picks for Anthony Richardson at this point. It's that bad. All right, folks. Welcome to Drinkin Dynasty, episode 11. We're going to call this the cursed episode, Lou. I think you know why. This is the cursed episode that they didn't want us to release. The powers that be, the behind-the-scene powers of fantasy football tried to stop us. They couldn't stop us. We're here. All right.
We're back at it, man.
This is our
Mhm.
camp hype episode. We're going to be talking about a hand-picked, curated assortment of the spiciest young boys, the buzziest boys in camps. We're going to talk some NFL news here in a second, and we're going to talk about some trade hypotheticals, some trade questions that we have fielded in the Fantasy Index Discord, also some that we've observed in other Discord fantasy football servers. But first, Lou, how are you? What are we drinking?
Yes, sir, man. I'm excited to get this cursed episode out of the way, man. But just like NFL players grinding through OTAs and gearing up for training camp, we too at Drinkin Dynasty have been grinding through episode 11, trying to get it released to the public. So this is attempt number 3, but I think the third time's a charm, man. I think we're gonna get it done tonight. And I'm drinking from. I'm gonna go ahead and just say my favorite brewery here in Texas, St. Arnold's Brewery. Drinking Summer Pills. It's a good drink for the month of June. So I'm ready to go, man. What about you?
Back at it again with the Manhattan Beer Project here in Dallas, Texas. I've got a higher ABV, also Dallas beer on reserve for when I inevitably plow through this one. So yeah, should be a cracking good time, and I'm gonna start cracking beers. All right, what are we starting with, Lou? Who's our leadoff news tidbit and for us to knock around?
It's just let's lead off with Aaron Rodgers, man. Signing finally,
of course,
about damn time, signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all knew this was coming, but now that it officially happened, how are you feeling about the move and the prospects of guys like DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth, and even the running backs?
Yeah, he gets like $13.65 million, I think, guaranteed, with like just short of $6 million in incentives on top of it. So, I mean, it's a very team friendly deal, but it's hard for me to like just the forest for the trees of this. You know, he jerked the Steelers around for months now. He openly. It's just an open secret. I mean, he basically admitted, like, I just don't want to be there until June, guys. Sorry, I want to have my me time to go, get secret married to some lady, and which is fine. Nothing wrong with getting married, but like it's just the Aaron Rodgers show all over again. And I know statistically, he was decent for the Jets last year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of those were kind of empty numbers, which isn't, I mean, we don't care in fantasy football. We don't care how or when you get it as long as you get it. But like, he's, what is he, 41 now? I think going on 42. Obviously this is it. He almost retired. He could be, he may not make it to the end of the season as a starter, because if they're not winning games, and I'm not saying that they won't win games. They were winning games with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. The defense is still elite as long as they get the TJ Watt situation figured out too, sweet. And we know what the Steelers are. They're going to come out and try to grind teams out physical everybody, win games 20-16, 19-13 type games. But it's hard for me to get very excited really for anybody. Maybe Freiermuth. Maybe Freiermuth gets a bump here as, an established veteran who, can be counted on to run the route exactly as the quarterback is expecting, dot all of his I's, cross all of his T's. Maybe Freiermuth gets a bump, but I think the Steelers are gonna not. I mean, they're already saying that they're gonna protect Aaron Rodgers or limit his exposure is the phrasing. That means just not throw the ball a ton. Really, is they're going to try to play ball control, win ugly, as the Steelers always do. And, yeah, so, fantasy-wise, doesn't move the needle for me with DK Metcalf. I'm actually inclined to maybe bump the running backs down a half notch, potentially. Maybe Jaylen Warren is okay because of passing volume. But, anyway, Lou, what's your gut telling you here? What are you...
Just kind of thinking about it, man. I think I have a little bit of opposite views as you at the moment. So one thing I will say is that, he didn't sign until this month, but at least we heard that he was practicing with Metcalf. The other thing about Aaron Rodgers, he typically hyper targets his number one option. So that makes me feel pretty good about DK Metcalf.
That is true.
Going into this year, especially at his current ADP at the moment. I think people are pretty down on him. So that kind of makes me bump him up a bit. I'm a huge Pat Freiermuth fan, so I hope that he's somebody that gets more established in that offense. And I think Aaron Rodgers being a veteran and hopefully being able to change plays at the line, if depending on what Arthur Smith does, whatever happens in that situation. But I think it kind of brings more respect to the offense in the sense that maybe teams don't hyper focus the run game and kind of give Aaron Rodgers respect as a very intelligent quarterback. So that's my perspective at the moment. So I think it could be a good thing for the offense. I think, for example, I have DK Metcalf in one of my leagues. I'm kind of excited about that. I think he's going to produce this season. So
that makes sense, at least until the Jets trade Allen Lazard to the Steelers.
Oh, no.
For a future 8th round pick swap. And then
8th round pick.
Aaron Rodgers and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith get into a power struggle over which bum to force the football to, Allen Lazard or Michael Pruitt. Rodgers' guy,
oh, shit.
Arthur Smith's guy. Who's gonna win the bum off? So that'll be fun.
I want to go ahead and just go with Lazard on that one, bro. Let's dive into the next guy right here. This is one of my favorite running backs, and I am a Houston Texans fan. Nick Chubb signed with the Houston Texans. So I'll go ahead and just give my perspective right away, and then I'll see what you have, man. So I don't think it affects Joe Mixon that much. I think Joe Mixon's still the lead guy. I think he's going to get to take more breaks, but I don't think sometimes it's hard to bet against somebody like Nick Chubb because he's now a few years removed from the injury. The dude has amazing workout habits. That dude is still squatting a ton after that injury, which, by the way, I have not gone back to see a second time. That's how bad the injury was. I saw it once and that was it.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, I still believe Joe Mixon's the lead back. I think Nick Chubb is going to be somebody who spells him, get some goal line work and things like that. I don't bet against Nick Chubb, though. I mean, maybe he surprises me and shows me a flash of the past, but Joe Mixon looked good last year, man. He looked so good last year.
Yeah, and they did draft Woody Marks, a guy that they seemed to. I mean, we kind of liked him as kind of a rich man's Kyle Monangai out of USC. He could mix in. I don't know what it means for Dameon Pierce. I mean, it's getting down to the
getting very dark.
Down to the fumes for Dameon Pierce in Houston. Part of me thinks that the Houston Texans are genuinely hoping that they don't need to use Nick Chubb before December. Part of me thinks he is a quality reserve who they really want to be a reserve, and that they if they have to break him out because Joe Mixon gets hurt again. He was banged up a lot last year, and he was a guy that he was the engine of the offense when his ankles were right.
Mm-hmm.
If Mixon can stay on the field for 15-plus games, that's what they want. They want him to keep eating every bit of the volume he did last year. But he is, I believe, third or fourth, and that's including Ezekiel Elliott, so that doesn't even count. Third or fourth on the active touches leaderboard amongst all running backs. I mean, it's Derrick Henry, and then it's like him and Kamara and CMC are pretty close. Actually, CMC's behind both of them. Anyway, so they're clearly aware that like Mixon's approaching real breakdown risk territory. He's pretty much there. So if Chubb gets pressed into like 2 or 3, 4 games of significant workloads, I think that's what they're comfortable with. Beyond that, that's really not what they are hoping to have play out here. A true committee wouldn't super make sense. Joe Mixon is no Nick Chubb at the height of Nick Chubb's powers, but fundamentally they do give you similar things as like a power back who can break some tackles, make some splash plays, create on their own a little bit. Again, obviously Joe Mixon's never been in Nick Chubb's stratosphere when Nick Chubb was healthy, but is there a need? I mean, Joe Mixon has showed that you want him out there for 20, 25 touches. He's got kind of the Josh Jacobs effect where like he is beating the other team up for you. He's getting stronger as the game goes on. Do you want to take him off the field? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not for like 40, 50% of what Nick Chubb once was. It strikes me as like, hey, he's a tremendous locker room guy, tremendous, veteran presence.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to bring that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Texans are still a young team. So yeah, it's a leadership thing.
big time locker room presence is a huge thing. That's why he's no longer there, but I was excited for Robert Woods. Great locker room presence.
Right.
Showing guys how to play the right way.
Not that he was necessarily really the same thing, but he was a guy who'd been around. Nick Chubb has been around. So yeah. But yeah, if you're a Mixon owner, you got to go send a trade offer for sure. For sure. I would. Even if it's a third. I send a third for Nick Chubb. It's a 3rd round pick. Who cares?
Yeah, that's a good point. So another big signing for the Broncos, for everybody that drafted Hari in the rookie draft. Yeah. The Broncos brought in J.K. Dobbins, which to me was a great signing. Mm-hmm. I'm still like, if I'm a Harvey owner, I'm still good with it, but J.K. Dobbins is a guy that he's going to demand some touches in that backfield. He showed that he was pretty healthy last season, looked good. I think he was averaging like 4.6 yards a carry in the offense, although he did seem to slow down a little bit like near the end of the year. But I think that's a very strong signing. But if I'm a Harvey owner, I'm still feeling okay.
In Dynasty-wise, it doesn't move the needle. It really doesn't. Like, J.K. Dobbins is very unlikely to re-up with the Broncos on like a multi-year deal this spring. That wouldn't make a ton of sense. Not going to say it's impossible. If he comes out, the Broncos have a good offensive line. Obviously, Dobbins showed some real gas, real juice initially before falling off. It's possible, but super unlikely. I do think, if you're a Harvey owner, you got to, if you were counting on him to come out and give you 20 touches in week 1, you got to make other plans. Like,
reassess, yeah.
If you don't have a second running back and you're trying to go win this year, you don't have a second running back, you need to go get one now at this point. Maybe go get Dobbins, maybe go get who the hell's out there? Javonte Williams, get a cheap guy who's going to give you touches until Harvey can kind of hopefully get control of this backfield. J.K. Dobbins could be the touch leader for the first 8 weeks. It would not surprise me a bit. It really wouldn't.
So one thing about J.K. Dobbins, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but before injuries, he might have had the potential to be one of the most talented running backs in the league before injuries. At least that's the way I felt about his prospects. I don't know if you felt the same way, but those injuries really derailed him. But that dude could have been a beast, man, before those injuries. Sure. And maybe he got some of the juice back now that he has some time to recover.
Yeah. They already are there's already whispers that, hey, even though he's never really caught a lot of balls, it could be Dobbins out there on 3rd downs initially. That hurts bad. Mm-hmm. That's something like, okay, now I'm really nervous short term. Dynasty-wise, long term, it doesn't move the needle. But yeah, for 2025, for these upcoming, the first 5, 6, 8, 9 games of 2025. This is a problem. This is a problem if you were forecasting Harvey into your lineup. You're going to have to tap dance around this for the first couple months. Quite likely.
I agree with that, man. So let's get back to that phone call at the beginning of the podcast, man. So I think you were hypothetically offered a 2026 late third round pick.
Yeah.
So let's discuss some Anthony Richardson, man. So he had an aggravated AC joint on the right shoulder, so he's gonna miss some time in training camp, and potentially, I don't know if you heard any different, but it might be worse, right? At the moment.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't, check the clips coming out of Colts camp earlier today. Richardson's, obviously he's not a full go. He's taking mental reps only. He's not even throwing lightly. So like he is fully shut down. I saw, it was totally unsubstantiated. It was speculation, but I saw something from Adam Schefter earlier that he's hearing that it's no sure thing that Richardson's going to be ready for training camp. If he's not ready to go for training camp, it's going to be Daniel Jones week 1. I mean, it just is. And I mean, let's focus on the nature of the injury itself. This AC joint issue, this happened almost 2 years ago. So it is not normal for this to be, there should be no aggravation risk from just throwing. And I haven't heard anything about like, oh, somebody, accidentally ran into him and, knocked him down. He landed weird on the shoulder. I haven't heard anything like that. This is from throwing. That is a legitimate red flag. Okay, guys, like this is not a guy who was so accurate that it didn't matter. He could afford an injury to his throwing shoulder. So, I mean, can you sell right now? You'd be bleeding hand over fist to get rid of him right now. You could be left holding the bag potentially. So yeah, when the offseason started, he was kind of a buy low for me. I actually sent a few offers. Unfortunately, never mind. Fortunately, got rejected, but they weren't bad offers at the time for his value. Right. But the owners at the time just kind of still believed that he was going to get the chance. Sure. And I was believing, but now you're hearing reports that like they're thinking about bringing in Desmond Ridder. And like, yep. He's in now when you hear those kind of reports, I'm like, oh man, is this worse than what we think? Are they expecting him to be out long term? And like you were kind of hinting at earlier, like he's a guy that needs these reps because if you watched him play last year, like you see signs of potential, but he needs to be more accurate, man. Like he's not going to be able to get the job done. And it's not his wide receivers. Pittman, Josh Downs. I even saw Adonai Mitchell get open several times and get missed. Like he needs the reps and he needs to practice. And if he's not getting that, then they might just keep going with Daniel Jones going into next season. It's a possibility, and that now has me worried. So Daniel Jones beyond 2025, that's still hard to believe because what would that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what would definitely. That mean? He would come out and have to throw more than like 25 touchdowns. I don't think he can do that. But what do the Colts want to do? They have to run the ball to be a functional offense in 2025. Clearly, that's and they did last year. If Daniel Jones can come out and just be, Alex Smith or something close as a guy who just gets the ball out, doesn't take risks. Takes what the defense.
They would love an Alex Smith.
Exactly. I mean that's what this offense is crying out for. And Daniel Jones, maybe I guess you'll do. And he can run a little bit. But let's be real. Like the Texans were expecting to be better. The Jags are a major X factor. They could be a double digit win team. It would not be completely, inconceivable. And the Titans should be better. There's a good chance that even so. So yeah, it's panic time on Anthony Richardson right now for sure. However, if we stop, take a breath, look at the forest for the trees here, what are the odds that the Daniel Jones Indianapolis Colts are going to exit September 3-1? That seems like a real tall order for Daniel Jones. He's freaking never done it. And yeah, Shane Steichen has not exactly elevated quarterbacks so far, has he? No, he hasn't. So. Even if it's Daniel Jones initially, there is a path, a plausible path, a realistic path for Anthony Richardson to be reinserted later because the Colts are 2-3, and Daniel Jones has shown that. Yep. Turns out he's still Daniel Jones. So on that, from that vantage point, take on things, Anthony Richardson is maybe not that far off from like a Jalen Milroe, except Jalen Milroe has a 9-figure quarterback in front of him now with Sam Darnold. Who'd have thought would ever say Sam Darnold was a 9-figure quarterback? Anthony, the hypothetically benched Anthony Richardson wouldn't have that obstacle. So you can still throw buy low offers on him, and there's a real chance they'll get accepted right now. There is. I mean, that early third you offer might not come back. You might get Anthony Richardson back instead. I'm still kind of into it. Obviously, the floor is the ceiling, I should say, rather, is still stratospherically high. But you better not need that pick, whatever it is. It better not be a pick you can't.
100%.
Because Richardson, he could be Birmingham bound in 12 months. So,
yeah, I mean, he still has the high draft capital. It's possible that if it doesn't work out with the Colts, he gets another opportunity somewhere else. Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, etc. But that doesn't always work out for all quarterbacks. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, people are still waiting on Trey Lance, bro.
I mean, I think Richardson is most of the way to the Trey Lance, like, draft capital will be damned, this guy can't play. I believe in him more than I really ever did with Lance, but it only matters if somebody's willing to put you on a football field.
Take the shot.
It's getting late. It's getting awful late here, Anthony. You got to do something, bud. All right. So anyway, does that cover our news? Luke, are we on to?
Yeah. Let's move on, man. So Luke, we don't get hyped, man. We stay hyped. Let's get on to the OTAs, the guys that have been getting hyped so far that we want to talk about. So I'm going to bring up once again one of our favorite running backs, 7th round pick from the Commanders, Jacory Croskey-Merritt.
JC.
And he's been getting so much hype this offseason so far since OTA started. And what I've been wanting to mention about him is that even before in college, so he was ineligible his last year of college, and the Arizona coaching staff praised him because even though he was ineligible, he was attending all the team meetings. He was practicing like if he was getting game ready. And I like to hear that because that makes me believe that he has that dog in him.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
The dude wants to be good. And I love Brian Robinson Jr., and I think you believe he's a good running back as well.
Sure.
But let's be honest. There's a world where if this guy starts performing, that he can kind of move up that depth chart, start getting carries, and work his way into the lineup. Because as much as I like Brian Robinson Jr., I wouldn't say he's irreplaceable, right? What are your thoughts on how you like to call him JC Money?
JC Money. All right, so the case here is very simple. Does a running back have to be an elite talent, a Saquon Barkley, an Ashton Genty type of, caliber of player to be fantasy relevant? No. We know the answer to that is no. Bums or, guys who aren't that good in the right situation. David Montgomery with the Lions. Come on, David Montgomery is not a real 3-down feature back, but in the offense, it works. Come on, Lou. The Bears tried.
A little bit on that one, but go ahead.
The Bears tried. It didn't work. So guys who, Ramondre Stevenson a couple years ago with the Patriots, guys who aren't, 6'2", 230 pounds, running a 4.3 40 and with, legitimate receiving chops. You don't have to be that to be fantasy relevant, but it helps. It helps you stay safe. And, the example for me is Rachaad White. Rachaad White had a lovely 2023 for the Bucs. He finished as like the RB8 in most fantasy scoring, I want to say. RB7, 8, 9 in that range. I mean, that's a top 10 finish. That's legit. He won fantasy leagues. He was a big piece for the Bucs. We assumed that because of that, he was safe, ignoring the fact that he was not very efficient as a rookie in 2022. He was definitely not very efficient in 2023. We ignored that, and because Bucky Irving came in with no draft capital, came in with no mandate to play, but he was way better than Rachaad White. That was the thing that we missed. Yeah. That was the thing that we underestimated, and he buried Rachaad White by Thanksgiving. I mean, Rachaad White Rachaad White the Bucs want him. They want to move him. They would take a day 3 pick swap to move Rachaad White at this point because he's just not really a part of their plans anymore. Brian Robinson is in that territory with the Commanders now. Rachaad White was drafted by the Bucs' current GM. Brian Robinson was not drafted by Adam Peters. He is a holdover from the Martin Mayhew, Ron Rivera regime, and those guys loved him. These guys just like him. He's the best option that they have on hand. But that may now be changing with Jacory Croskey-Merritt in the house. Dude has real juice. You go turn on this tape, you're going to see in about 5 seconds, if you have functional boy-watching eyeballs, that this guy can play this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Eckler, he's near the end. They might keep him around as like a strict change of pace. They had him on. He made his first Pro Bowl last year as a kick returner. That was weird. So they might keep him around for that. But like, Brian Robinson is really vulnerable here. Jacory Croskey-Merritt is probably better, and that's at the end of the day, that's what sunk Rachaad White. Is good teams put the best players on the field. That could really be in play here. So yeah. JCM, get him off your waiver wire. If you can go punt a 3rd rounder for him, I say go do it yesterday. It's got to be done. We want pieces of this offense, and he's still cheap. Go get him.
Exactly. Like I made sure to pick him up or attempt to pick him up in a lot of my dynasty leagues, and if I got outbid, it was probably by you.
Yep.
So, so I believe in the talent, man. Yeah. So definitely. The next guy I want to bring up is a guy that I give you credit about and I give Fouch credit about in our Discord channel because I started looking more his way and started looking at the film once I saw you guys drafting him, Kyle Williams. So the news on him at the moment during the OTAs is impressive performances, good work ethic, route running, making good catches. So even watching the film on him in OTAs, man, he moves around very well as a rookie wide receiver. He's somebody I'm getting more excited about. I know Diggs is there, but I truly believe he can carve out a role year 1. So since I was following your lead, tell me what you think about Kyle Williams and why you should pick him up.
The case for Kyle Williams is again pretty straightforward. With some minor caveats, he did not dominate at every stop all through his college career, but he's had a lot of experience in a multitude of offenses. He had a year with Cam Ward at Washington State. He was not top dog that season with Cam Ward. That is true. Cam Ward is showing us that he spreads the love around. He does not lock on to one guy. He is going to throw it to the guy who's freaking open, period. So, Kyle Williams did not get the ball fed to him. He did last year at Washington State, and he was phenomenal. He has a lot of experience in a variety of schemes now. Dude can fly. He's one of those guys who he's not big, but he's big enough, and he's not a true burner, but he is plenty fast. He's faster than like a Jordan Addison type. He ran
a 4.40. So not bad.
And to my eyes, it's like this guy only ran a 4.4. Like he is smooth with it. He there's different kinds of speed. Like for example, like who's an example of like a guy with like build up speed. It's an old example, but Vincent Jackson, longtime Charger and Buccaneer receiver, classic example of a guy who had a good 40 time for his size. But his first 2-3 steps were all build-up speed. Mike Evans, another guy, build-up speed, where it's like he doesn't beat you on step 2 or 3. But if you don't have him solidly in your hip pocket by then, oh boy, you're about to learn you a lesson. So Kyle Williams has access to his top end speed right away, like a smaller guy you would expect. He's twitchy. He's got an advanced package of releases at the line of scrimmage already that is going to make him, a guy that the Patriots like to use near the line of scrimmage as well, which obviously in any sort of PPR format is huge. The Patriots need somebody who can be a big play threat meaningfully with Drake May, who he's got the cannon. He wants to push the ball deep. Mm-hmm. Is that really still in the Stephon Diggs repertoire at this point? I mean, he looks good for a guy who's 6 months out from an ACL tear. He's looked good at camp, but let's be real. Is that really what the Patriots are going to ask him to do? Is that really the plan here? Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, okay to good players, I would say. Kayshon Boutte, he could fall off the wagon any moment and bet on himself to bet on his own over under in week 1 for receptions and get banned for life. I mean that could totally happen. But he showed a little bit last year. He was pretty inconsistent. Demario Douglas, I'm getting big time like poor man Khalil Shakir vibes already. Like he may already be maxed out as a guy who like he can get you if you need a receiver to get you 500 yards, he can get you 800 yards. If you need a receiver to get you 1,100 yards, he can get you 800 yards. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. They need a guy, and I think they're going to give Kyle Williams every chance to at least grow into being that guy. Will it happen in 2025? With Diggs there, I thought he was going to miss September. Now it's kind of looking like shit. He's going to be ready week 1. Damn it,
play, yeah.
That's not great. But the player that fits the most with May's arm right now is Williams. Like of the options here, Jalen Polk. Like God bless you if you want to go back to that well. It sounds like the Patriots are kind of wiping the slate clean and saying, okay, shit got out of hand last year. We asked too much of you. Let's see what you can do for us. Javon Baker's dead. You need to mourn. You need to go through the frown. Ma, why'd you have to say he's dead?
You're probably right. Real quick, Jalen Polk, you and I had this discussion before, but honestly, he's a guy that I wouldn't mind throwing like a fourth at, or maybe like a known late third. A pick that you're not going to miss, and just take a dart throw chance on him just in case he kind of overcomes and develops, because he still has that draft capital behind him. There's still a possibility that he earns a role with the Patriots.
And
so
he is a bigger body than really anybody else that they've got of note.
Yeah, 6'1", I believe.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, that's bigger than Kyle Williams. It's definitely bigger than Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas. Javon Baker, I mean, he would have to have a deathbed revival big time. If he did, that would be of note, because he could at least take the majority of his snaps outside. So, yeah, Jalen Polk, because the Patriots are, like, few other teams are so starved for a guy that they can just put outside and say, okay, you eat these snaps for us. You make... You keep your side of the field honest. You keep them preoccupied, and we'll throw you the ball sometimes. So yeah, but like, is Kyle Williams just going to turn out to be better than Kayshon Boutte or Demario Douglas and force the issue? It's a real possibility. So
I think so.
Now, there's a little bit too much heat on Kyle Williams right now. Like if somebody offered you a early 2026 second for Kyle Williams right now, would you take it? Probably not. Probably not.
I would think about it, but nah.
So it's not really a great time to be buying him. If you have a player that is compatible, like if you've got, I don't know, it's a bad example, but if you've got like Isaac Guerendo and he happens to also be the CMC owner, okay, maybe you can give him Guerendo, or you can give him Jordan James and a third to go get Kyle Williams. That probably feels like an overpay, realistic, yeah. But you could get something like that done. But he's not cheap right now. So, I will say the Kyle Williams buzz in the last week or so is tapering back a little bit. He was turning heads. Now it's all about Efton Chisholm right now. They got it's white boy summer in Foxborough. Does that really mean that Kyle Williams is struggling? I have no idea. But it's F Town right now. So
I get it, man. The best white boys in the league have kind of come from. we got Edelman, Welker. I mean, we'll see what happens. So
imagine you're a scruffy white dude from Eastern Washington, and you're never even going to be the best scruffy white dude possession receiver out of Eastern Washington University to ever play in the NFL. Rough. All right, who else we got, Lou?
All right, man. So what we have next is the potential Jets number 2 wide receiver. Jesus. This dude has blazing speed, ran a 4.36. Arian Smith. So the word on him out of the OTAs is that he's consistently getting open, like almost unguardable, making big plays. And the knock on him was that homeboy couldn't catch the ball very well. But during OTAs, it seems like that's something he's improved on. So moving forward, I mean, he might be a good guy to take a chance on if he ends up being the number 2 wide receiver on the Jets, man. What's your feeling towards Arian Smith?
It's hard to imagine a scenario where the Jets are actually going to go into week 1 saying, okay, I guess we're giving Arian Smith 65% of the snaps in his first rookie game. Like, and are they really going to do? Would they even do that if they needed to? Probably not. Like they would eat around that. But like, if they break camp and it's like, oh shit, Arian Smith is our second best option, I just think they're going to do something. They're gonna get Amari Cooper on speed dial and be like, all right, asshole, what's it gonna take to get you up here? I mean, that's what they need to do. That is what they need to do. So, but they might not. You know, Aaron Glenn, we don't know what kind of program he's on here. He might just decide, nah, I'm breaking camp with my guys. Because keep in mind, Dan Campbell disciple. Dan Campbell wanted his guys. He wanted guys who were bought in. That's the coaching tree that Aaron Glenn is off of now. So, you know, they want to get them young and you know, win hearts and minds and all that shit. So, it's possible. I don't see any path to volume if it does happen. He can't catch, or at the very least, it is a work in progress. And what is he going to do? I mean, come on, what are the Jets going to do? They're going to run the dick off of this football in 2025.
And hyper target Wilson.
Exactly. Like, they will at worst be top 6 in the league in rush attempts. They want to be first. They want to run this football more than any other team in the NFL, more than the Eagles, more than the Ravens, more than all of them. So, what does that mean? I mean, is there a scenario where, you know, like the A.J. Brown rookie season, where it's like he turns 50 catches into 900 yards because of play action shots over the top? Sure. What do you have there? You have like poor man's Rashad Bateman, poor man's Jameson Williams. It's on the fringes of fantasy relevant, but the very fringes. So, I mean, we make a note of it.
Yeah.
We make a note of it because, yeah, he can fly. Not a lot of guys do you say, yeah, he runs a 4.36, but he looks faster. Guy can fly. So, yeah, but let's be real. Like, they don't want Fields throwing this ball more than 450 times.
Yeah, he's not a guy I expect much from, but he's a good taxi squad stash, man, for sure. Yep. And see what develops.
Yeah, you never know.
We're going to end up going to Cleveland now and start discussing some Harold Fannin Jr.
Oh, shit.
So,
real one.
What I read up on him is basically the coaching staff loves him. His ability to soak in the playbook and learn is being talked about. And then his work ethic and how versatile he is on the football field and how he can move around to different spots and make plays. What's your take on Harold Fannin Jr. and your expectations for him moving forward?
So it's hard. It's hard to believe in this guy. I'm going to say it like it is. It's hard to fully believe that this guy could ever be fantasy relevant. When you look at him, just, you know, you don't know anything about him. You just look at him like, well, he's like 6'3.5", 240. That's real small for a tight end. I mean, that's you're not going to be doing much blocking at all. There are wide receivers that are basically that size. Not crazy fast. Ran like a 4.7 40, so his straight line speed is really not there. So it's easy to look at him and be like, you know, yeah, you dominated in college, but like this is the NFL. Like how is that going to work here? It cannot be overstated how completely Harold Fannin dominated the Bowling Green offense as a 19-year-old last year in college football. Half of that passing offense went through him last year. As a 19-year-old in Division I football, half of it. I mean, he led the nation in receptions as a 19-year-old tight end. I mean, let that sink in. So already just the college production profile is tremendously unusual. Tremendous, off the charts elite. I mean, his dominator rating for tight ends, you know, if you're into that all that player profiler shit, his dominator rating for tight ends historically is 100th percentile. One of the 2 or 3 best tight ends ever by that metric. Okay, so that's just phenomenally unusual. And right away, the Browns are like, oh shit. Okay, hey everybody, we're gonna have 2 tight ends on the field at all times this year. That's pretty much what they've said. That's definitely what the Cleveland Browns beat is saying. That's like they're gonna have Njoku and Fannin on the field all the time. Like that was like one of the first things they said. It is hard not to at least be thoroughly intrigued by this guy. it's a deep tight end class. There's a lot of hype for Terrence Ferguson with the Rams. There is obviously, Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland suck up all the oxygen in the room, rightfully so. Colston Loveland is probably not going to do much as a rookie. He's certainly not going to do anything, noteworthy early on, I don't think, as like the fifth option in the passing game, maybe. So, and then Tyler Warren, we don't know. Tyler Warren goes as the Colts go, probably. Like, it's going to be hard for him to punch his way out of, like, Anthony Richardson completing 14 passes a game, if it comes to that. So, obviously, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland have the higher floors. Harold Fannin could wind up having the best career out of any tight end in this class. I'll just say it. It is possible. He's 20 years old. This is unbelievable. He'll be 21, I think, later this summer. Like, just wild. So, yeah, it's real interesting.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, man. And during our rookie draft in one of our fantasy index dynasty leagues, our guy in the Discord channel, Keith, sent me a trade offer, and he offered me Pat Freiermuth. Shout out to Keith. Offered me Pat Freiermuth for the pick that he eventually took Harold Fannin Jr. with, and I took the trade, right? Because I'm a Freiermuth fan, right? I'm like, all right, this guy's solid, starting tight end for the Steelers. Let's do this, right? But I'm kind of like, oh shit, like long term, did I make the right move? So, because he does have some true potential, man. So that's gonna be an interesting trade to look at, like 1, 2, 3, 4 years down the line to see how it turned out.
I get why he offered Freiermuth, because is Freiermuth gonna have more than one more top 8 finish in his career? If I had to bet, I guess I'd say no. He's gonna have one or no more top 8 finishes. But obviously the floor is there. He's got the contract. He's getting $12 million a year with the Steelers, and they have no real wide receiver 2 right now, and they don't seem to be able to do anything about that. So yeah, Freiermuth, that's easy. That's basically free money. Fannin has the higher ceiling. Fannin could have a 1,200-yard season in the NFL. Freiermuth is never going to have a 1,000-yard season. That's just reality. Yeah. So
I can agree with that.
He swung for the ceiling, which if you pay that kind of price to take a ceiling swing on a guy 10 times and 2 hit, you won. If you give away 10 Freiermuths and 2 Fannins turn into stars, that's a win. So I see it. I see it from both sides. I do.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Fannin, is that a guy that, just general heat check, where does Fannin fall on like your tight end pecking order for dynasty purposes in this rookie cohort? It's a deep class. Does he make it to 3?
For me, no.
No. Okay. Fair.
No. I even had Arroyo over him. That's something I need to kind of reanalyze myself.
Yeah.
But we don't. Also, the other thing with our leagues, we don't play tight end premium. So like, I won't sit here and lie and said I did a deep dive into the tight ends, but I did have Arroyo over him for most of the offseason, and we'll see.
I will say, Harold Fannin caught more passes in November of 2024 than Elijah Arroyo caught in his entire collegiate career. Let that sink in, okay?
I'm letting it sink in right now.
That is fucking crazy. Like, if you go back and look at the numbers, you're like, at first you're like, wow, that's pretty good, and then you look at them again, you're like, the who's the J.R. Smith, the J.R. Smith meme on the bench for the Cavs, where he's like, and then his eyes go wide. He's like, "What the fuck?" That's what Harold Fannin's collegiate production does to me. All right, so yeah, those are the buzziest boys. I got to give a quick honorable mention. Dante Thornton, day 2 pick out of Tennessee for the Raiders. He's on the Arian Smith track now. He really is. Like he has not had really, nobody's had a bad thing to say about him so far at Raiders camp. Just like the Jets are in position to be leveraged into putting Arian Smith on the field for significant snaps, Dante Thornton is going to be the wide receiver 3 on this team. There's no way around it at this point. Like Trey Tucker, yeah.
Sure. Oh, you think he overtakes Trey Tucker?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's 6. He is 6'5" and runs 4.3 flat, and he can catch. Is Is he Jerry Rice? No, but he can catch a football. He's going to be on the field for this team. Is he going to catch a lot of balls? I have no idea. He's going to be on the field. They have to have him on the field at this point. That's what it's looking like. So Dante Thornton is for real. He's on the radar. It's very unlikely to hit. But Riley Leonard, 6th-round pick for the Colts. The Anthony Richardson doomsday scenario is already in motion. It has already begun. Is Daniel Jones going to make it 17 games before the Colts are like, oh my God, we can't take this anymore. We have to put somebody else in under center. This is not the New York Giants where Daniel Jones had basically a Presidente for life type of a blood pact with John Mara, where John Mara was like, I just love that guy so much. He can be my quarterback no matter what. That's not the situation here. He has to win or he's going to go away. There is a bit of a drumbeat around the Colts for like, hey, this guy's got some moxie, dog factor with Riley Leonard. Is he a project? Yes, of course he is. He's a college basketball player that decided, hey, what about football? Hyper athletic. I mean, this guy ran for multiple 50-yard touchdowns in college. Ran for 30 touchdowns over his 2 real seasons as a starter. Jalen Hurts ran for 32, or Jalen Milroe ran for 32. Okay, so I mean, that's legit production on the ground. I mean, his floor, if he were to ever get on the NFL field, is like poor man's Daniel Jones, which is, I mean, poor man's Daniel Jones. It's not great, but that's the floor. So he's on the radar with Anthony Richardson really getting into dicey, choppy waters here. So anyway, on to the trades, my friend.
Let's do it, man. Let's get into some trades. So, all right. Let's play it this way, man. If we agree, we drink.
If we agree, okay.
Does that sound good?
Oh shit!
All right. So
we think alike a little bit too much. I'm gonna need to crack this beer.
Do it. So while you're cracking it open, trade number 1 from our Discord channel. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR, and it was posted by TB. One of our dudes that's very active in our Dynasty section of Discord. We have Terry McLaurin for Chris Olave.
McLaurin for Olave. So we did talk about this one a little bit already, so we kind of know where each other are at. My initial gut reaction to this trade was to go with Olave, because he's young. I believe he's 24, 25. So still solidly a young dude, still on his rookie contract. He is functionally the number 1 receiver for the Saints. Like there's really no significant opposition there. Rashid Shaheed is nice, but he's more of a kick returner than a wide receiver. So there's nobody else. Bub Means maybe does something one day, maybe. Brandon Cooks is in town, the long timer. Mm-hmm. So there's a scenario where it's Chris Olave and nobody else. But my answer is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, who, yes, turns 30 in September. 30 or 31?
I think 30.
He turns 30 in September, which that snuck up on us. It still feels like, hey, Terry McLaurin, he's probably 27, 26, 27. No, he was a late bloomer. He came into the pros at like 24. He's already 30 years old. Terry McLaurin is the clear-cut number 1 receiver in a very good offense. Here's the thing. There is a scenario where the Redskins are the best offense in the NFC this year. It's in play.
I won't argue that.
It's unlikely, but it is in play. We know they're one of the top 5. We know that. We have no idea what the Saints are this year. We have Tyler Shuck is in town to have a quarterback battle with Spencer Rattler. That could wind up being the worst quarterback situation in the league. Let's be real. We have some Saints fan in the Fantasy Next Discord. If you're not in there, link below. Join the Discord. You worthless schmuck. There's the Saints boosters in the server are like, no, Shuck can play. We'll see. We'll frickin' see. The guy's 26. So we have no idea what the Saints are going to be this year. We have no idea who the quarterback is going to be next year. We really don't. If Tyler Shuck does not come out and light it up, he's already older than Trevor Lawrence. He's already older than Brock Purdy. They will move on. And they would have to. In a loaded quarterback class, if he sucks and they suck, they would have to. There is a lot of uncertainty here. Never mind the fact that one more concussion, this guy's on the Tua Tagovailoa track of like, you can never fully trust him again. You can never, he gets one more concussion. That means the next concussion after that, he might retire. I mean, that is where we're okay. It's probably not that serious yet, but like the injuries have been nonstop. 2022, his promising rookie season, is now a long time ago. It's now a long time ago. I mean, Treylon Burks, he was a rookie with him, and Treylon, like it's one more season of that, and he's
turned out so well.
He's moving in the Treylon Burks direction in a hurry. So let's say Chris Olave has 5-6 more seasons in the league as a starter. Let's just say he might not if the injuries keep up, but let's just say. Let's say he has 3 more elite seasons in him. Top 15 finishes in fantasy. 3 more. Okay, hey, that's not nothing. But you don't know if they're going to be in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't know when they're going to happen. If I told you that those were all true statements for Chris Olave, and Terry McLaurin will have 2 more fantasy relevant seasons, but they will both be top 15 finishes. Which one are you going to take? For me, I understand like the value hoarder mindset is like, oh, I'm going to take Olave because it's 3. 3 is more than 2. $1 today is worth more than $1.50 in 3 years. The recent American economy tells you that. I will take the surer thing now to go and win. Winning is the point. It's easy in Dynasty to forget that, oh, right. I'm not collecting fucking football cards here. I'm trying to win the league. A lot of guys are collecting football cards. I collect football cards. No shame in it.
I just started an expensive hobby, by the way.
Exactly. See, and it's easy to be like, oh, look at all my beautiful, look at my lovelies. Like 24, like, look at all the boys. They're all so young and they have so much potential. Terry McLaurin is good now. For me, it is that simple. Go win your league. It's McLaurin. All right, your turn.
I'm on the opposite end. And like you said, we kind of discussed this together already, but I just feel like his value, Olave, is so low at the moment. I think if he turns in a healthy season, man, you're going to be able to sell him for so much more. If you need to sell him, McLaurin's such a talented wide receiver, but like you said, he's about to be age 30, man. So we already know in Dynasty, his value is fixing to either kind of stay flat or start dropping. So when I think about it like that, even though McLaurin is a hell of a talented wide receiver, I'm gonna be on the Olave side on that, just because I think his value is going to increase and I can get potentially more for him down the line. Again, big question mark if he stays healthy, but I'm willing to take the chance.
Football card collector, Lou. That's a little bit. I mean, I agree. I understand. I respect it. I love Chris Olave. I want Chris Olave in fantasy leagues, but Terry McLaurin is money today. So a little bit of a football card thing there on that one, Lou. All right, I got some trades as well. Let me lay down the first one. All right, this one's a little convoluted, and I think you wound up saying that. I can't remember if this is the one where it's like, no, you don't have the whole picture. Aaron, one of our best guys, strongest guys in the Dynasty channel. What's up, Aaron? Aaron asked a little while ago now, how do you guys feel about Lad McConkey for the 2025 1.7 and my choice of Breece Hall or Xavier Worthy in a 12-team, 1-quarterback, half PPR league? He said he figures the 1.7 is either Harvey or Kaleb. At this point, with the Dobbins news, who knows if that's still the case, or a top wide receiver if they fall. What do you think, Lou?
Yeah, my instant answer on that is honestly, I want Breece Hall over Worthy. So if that's a possibility, that's the route I want to go in the trade. You know this about me already. I'm just like you. I'm a Rashid guy over Worthy. I think Rashid Rice is going to be the dude in the wide receiver on that team. But if I can turn Breece Hall into either the Breece Hall and the 107 into like Egbuka or Kaleb Johnson or something like that, depending on my team needs, then I think I'm okay with getting rid of Lad McConkey at that price tag, because I think Breece Hall outscores him in 2025, man. And people are so low on Breece Hall at the moment. And I think he's going to turn that around, man. He's so freaking talented. He's just been on a bad offense, and I think Aaron Glenn's going to change some things around, man. So I'm going to go with the Breece Hall side on that deal.
Yeah, for me, this one, and I don't even if this deal probably never came to fruition, but this one's all about If you can get the Hall side, then absolutely yes. If you can get the Worthy side, then yeah, no, probably not. So yeah, I'm a huge Breece Hall believer. Have been, will be. Contract year. Aaron Glenn is trying to come out and prove something here. But coaches who come out and suck in year one are at risk of getting fired right away. That's real. So Aaron Glenn, the best players are going to play here, and Breece Hall is the best player outside of like Garrett Wilson, maybe on that offense. So Breece Hall is the best player in the deal. I love Ladd McConkey, but Breece Hall is the best player in the deal. Ladd McConkey, here's the thing. There is still a chance that Ladd McConkey's rookie season is his best season that he ever has in the NFL. Nobody wants to think about that. Obviously, the love in the room for Ladd McConkey right now is very, very high.
Huge.
As well it should be. He closed incredibly strong in 2024. Ladd McConkey has been very banged up in college. His first season in the pros, like we forget about it now. He was banged up all through the summer, struggling to stay on the field for offense install, and resulted in him kind of starting a little bit sluggish in his rookie season before, cranking down the stretch. What was the mandate? What was the overarching theme of the Chargers offseason, Lou? What was the one thing they had to do?
Strengthen that O-line and get a running back, man, and they got two of them.
Yeah. They once J.K. Dobbins turned to ash on them, turned into a gargoyle, they could not run the ball to save their lives, and they in the playoffs, they were one and done because of it. They could not get the run game going whatsoever. This is a Jim Harbaugh. This is a Spike Lee joint. This is a Jim Harbaugh joint here. What do the Chargers want to do? They want to impose it on teams. They resorted to Justin Herbert chucking and Ladd McConkey catching it because they had to, not because they necessarily wanted to. I'm not a huge Trey Harris stan fantasy-wise, but to the extent that for what I believe, which is that, hey, Trey Harris is a tremendous play action weapon. If you can get him one-on-one and threaten teams, pulled two defensive backs toward his side of the field because they're just afraid that he's gonna run right by him for a deep shot. That's an asset to the run game. I'm worried, like, how much more can Ladd McConkey give you than what he gave you at the end of 2024? Can he really even give you that? Is that really what they want here? And never mind the fact, whether you believe or not, McConkey in 2024 rookie drafts was like the 11th, 12th, 11th at the most, 12th, 13th, 14th type pick in like Superflex drafts. If you can and now if he were, sorry, what?
I was gonna say I think 109 a lot of times.
Oh, you saw that? Okay.
109, 110. Yeah, if my memory is correct.
Well, that means he went before some pretty good guys. So, but regardless, if McConkey were somehow in this year's rookie draft, but we knew what he had done the year before, he'd have been a top 3 pick. So, like, to be able to lock that value gain in from whatever the pick was that you spent on him last year, to turn that into an earlier pick than you used on him last year, plus Breece Hall, that's a tremendous diversification for your roster.
Yeah.
You're insulating yourself from a lot of risk there because, there's a chance that the best player in the deal winds up being whoever you take at 1.7. It's possible. And Breece Hall is no slouch. So at the very least, it would be a nice piece of risk mitigation for your dynasty roster. And I just like Breece Hall. But yeah, Xavier Worthy, like, I'm shoving that. He's a gadget player until further notice. He's got a lot to show still. So yeah, okay. So we don't drink on that one. What do you say, Lou?
Oh no, we agree. We agree. So we drink on that.
We did agree. Ah, crap. All right. Oh darn, I'll drink some beer.
So this one was actually posted on our Discord channel today by, I love TB, man. He keeps the dynasty section active, man, for sure. He posts a lot of trade in there, but he did ask, would you trade? So he owns Baker Mayfield in the 12th team Superflex Dynasty League for Cam Ward.
Oh, fuck. I love this question. Whoa. All right. So fucking you wait. I gotta go. So
Bring it.
this is 100% what is in your nalgas. What is in you when it comes to, because this is a fucking Mexican standoff, okay?
Do you have the cojones?
You are going to be fucking right or you are going to be fucking wrong. What's it going to be? So obviously Mayfield is the man right now. He is, it's a bit like the Freiermuth versus Fannin on a much larger scale, way higher stakes, but we know what Mayfield is. He's going to get a new deal from the Bucs probably sometime in the next 6-8 months. He's going to be the man for the next 3, 4, 5 years, but he is already 30, 29 at the very least.
He's 29.
I'm checking right now.
Yeah.
He's in that vicinity. So, I love Baker Mayfield and he's the man, but how is he going to still be the man at 35, 36? He has turned 30, or at least he's in his age 30 season. So there is that. I mean, I don't want to knock a guy for being 30, but you're 30. The tenor of hype around Cam Ward in Titans camp already, Caleb Williams has never received the type of unequivocal, we are beyond sure that we got the right guy. Because keep in mind, the Titans wanted out of this pick. Let's just say like it is. Mike Bergonzi, the new GM that they brought in from Kansas City, he pretty much said, I want to trade this pick in January, February. Then he met Cam Ward. He did not want to trade the pick anymore. And they have only gotten more sure. I mean, the Titans beat is unequivocal about, we have not seen a guy like this in this town, not on this football team. Like the level of focus, the level of just intangibles, of just it factor, and he's got a hell of an arm, and he can put it exactly where he wants to on repeat, and he's cocky as all get out, and that's great as long as you're good. Like Baker Mayfield, that's the thing is like Baker. Here's the thing: if Baker Mayfield were like the QB8, QB9, be like, yeah, I probably Cam Ward. Baker Mayfield was like, I mean, he's won
or something like that. Yeah,
he has been the deciding factor for the championship team in several FID leagues already in just the 2 years that we've been doing the FID leagues. So it's especially in Superflex, it's hard to understate just how good he has been. But Father Time does remain undefeated. So how much do you believe in Cam Ward? That's the question there. What do you say, Lou?
I hate to give the political answer. So here's the political answer. So my thought process on this type of deal is if you're in win now mode, you're one of the top teams in your league, then it's hard to take that risk and take on a Baker Mayfield, right? I mean, I'm sorry, I said that completely wrong. You want to keep Baker Mayfield on your team because you kind of trust what he's done over the last few years, and you trust what they put around him, right? That being said, you're right. I'm hearing so much positive things being said about Cam Ward. I'm hearing that he's showing up at 5 a.m. with the other rookies, doing in a sense classes with them and things like that. Those are things you want to hear about your number one overall pick quarterback. TB did show me his team, and he's playing in a very deep league, and he has very solid pieces. But with it being deep, I wasn't sure if he had the depth, right? So in his situation, I think I probably would take the chance and trade Baker Mayfield for Cam Ward. But here's the thing, I wouldn't do it straight up. I would talk to that person and say hey, Baker Mayfield finished top 5 out of QBs last year, and see if I can get something thrown in on top for taking on the risk of Cam Ward. What do you think about that?
I mean, I love it because I love a real scumbag counter. I love it nah, give me a little something on top. I gotta wet my beak here. Let me get a second or something here, pal. As long as you're not, if you really want the deal, you want whichever side you're getting, the Ward side in this equation. Don't be crazy. Don't ask for a first on top and
don't scare them away
and torpedo it, because then they're like, no, fuck you, I'm done with you. But sure, I don't hate it because Mayfield is surefire money today. The real question is I think what the real question is here is like, are we sure that Cam Ward's going to be a star? I am.
We're not. Oh, I'm not. I'm not sure.
I am sure. So.
Oh, you're sure?
Well,
you're saying a star.
A star. Will he be a perennial top 3, top 4, 5 fantasy quarterback? Okay, I don't know. But he will be a star. So, I mean, that's what.
Can I ask you a question? What does a star mean in your world? Is that like top 10?
I mean, Patrick
top 15?
Patrick Mahomes is a superstar. Is he a top 5 fantasy quarterback right now? No. Like,
good point.
Cam Ward is going to be a winner. That much I can tell you. Is he going to throw 35 touchdowns a year? We'll see. I mean, obviously the receivers leave a lot to be desired so far. But, I mean, his receivers last year were Xavier Restrepo, a little bit of Elijah Arroyo, who is obviously very good, but he only caught like 35 balls, and like Sam Brown, who didn't even get drafted. Like, that was it. Cam Ward has cooked with not a lot of groceries on hand, okay? So he could come out and have 25, 27 total touchdowns as a rookie. Would not surprise me. That's not going to come close to what Mayfield does, obviously, in year 1, though. So, but yeah, this one comes down to how sure are you about Cam Ward? Got to be pretty goddamn sure because it's Baker Mayfield we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good one. We're not
What
ranking.
are we saying on that? I think in TB's situation, I'm going Cam Ward if he gets something on top.
Okay. I guess we got to take a sip. We don't have to take a full swig, but
let's take a sip. Yeah, that was hard.
All right, my next one. Yes, Notorious BWO, one of our most faithful trade advice solicitors in the Dynasty channel. Notorious BWO says, should I trade T. Higgins for a 2027 first and Egbuka? This is a tough one because, again, just like with the Olave trade earlier, if you're a value whore, and a lot of Dynasty guys are value whores, the answer is pretty obvious. But let's be real. Egbuka's getting all the hype in camp. That's great. That's fun. This trade, if you trade away Higgins for this haul, your team is almost definitely worse in 2025. I think it's probably worse in 2026 too. Let's be real. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will not both be dead in 2026. So your team is worse for at least one season, quite possibly two. That's not nothing. That's really not nothing. And then, oh, by the way, Egbuka has to hit. I know everyone and their brother says Egbuka is going to hit. You don't have to worry about that. We are in peak hype boy season, Lou. We are so horny for the boys. We are so horny for the rookies right now. Our cargo shorts are at noon, okay, bro? So all I'm saying is let's keep that in mind. Let's control for that. And we're saying outlandish shit. Emeka Egbuka is going to sky over Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both fully healthy, for 90 catches this year. I'm seeing people saying this shit right now, Lou. It's out there. You think it. You see exactly. So what are we talking about here?
So this trade, again, it's kind of difficult without knowing the team situations, because if you're in win now mode, Higgins is a scary dude to have in your lineup. When I'm playing against Higgins, I know if I have a 15-point lead, I'm not safe.
Yep.
Right. He can drop 20 points on any given Sunday. But there's just so much value in that Egbuka 2027 side. I'm pretty high on Egbuka. Do I believe he's gonna come out of the gates, like you said, 90 receptions this season? I hope, but I do respect the fact that there's a Evans, a Godwin if they stay healthy. But how you feel about Cam Ward, I feel about Egbuka. I think he's not going to bust. That dude is going to be a very good wide receiver in the NFL for a long time. So when I start thinking about just the value, I'm leaning Egbuka and the 2027 first on that trade.
I hear you. And again, like with the Ladd trade earlier, the best player in the trade could be the pick. That's totally possible here. T. Higgins is never going to be a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. I don't think Emeka Egbuka is either. Don't at me. I'm just being real here, guys. But he could absolutely be as valuable as T. Higgins. That's well within range. As a high end wide receiver 2, fantasy wide receiver 2, which is what Higgins is. He's not a true one. So I get the take there, but again, like with the McLaurin versus Olave, winning now does matter, guys. Let's try to keep that in mind a little bit. Oh, no, I don't want my team to win this year. Shut the fuck up. That doesn't matter. What you want on your goofy little science experiment doesn't matter. Doesn't make it a good idea for the other guy who's actually cares about winning. All right. Anyway, on to your next trade, Lou. Sorry to all the guys who are losing on purpose. That, right? I know that's... What's that?
We're drinking on that one, right?
Yeah. All right. So, don't spit it out. What's our next trade, Lou?
What you got next? Oh, yes, it's my go. It's my go on this. So, let's see what we should go with next. Let's go with I thought this was a fun one that we've discussed. Amari Hampton and a mid to late 2026 first for Ashton Jeanty.
Oh fuck. I mean, I hate to give like a similar answer or the same basic answer, but it comes down to how sure you are about either Ashton Jeanty or Amari Hampton. We get so sure. And the recent run of rookie classes is making us even more brazen in terms of becoming so sure about these guys. Like Emeka Egbuka, you are absolutely sold on Emeka Egbuka because first rounders don't miss anymore. That's what we're telling ourselves. Treylon Burks was a top 5 pick in rookie drafts a couple years ago, guys, across the board. Okay,
I didn't like that trade when it happened, though, bro.
I'm just saying, like we're a little too cocksure now that like, oh, these guys don't miss. Mm-hmm. One of these guys could miss. Okay, I'm just gonna say the unpopular thing. This is not the time of year. Nobody wants to hear that shit. No, you're fucking. What are you, a hack? Do you even know anything about fucking fantasy football? Ashton Jeanty is a beast. He's gonna be he's got 30 touchdowns. Like that's the you come out against any of these guys. That's what you get. One of these guys could not be that good. It like Najee Harris was like the number 2 rookie pick a couple years ago. Look what happened. Now he's in town to fucking compete with Amari and Hampton here. Like, it's about which player you like. Do you think Ashton Jeanty is a true? Are you that sure that he's a superstar? Not just a star, because Amari and Hampton could be a star. I don't think Amari and Hampton can be a superstar. He could be a star though. He could be a perennial top 10 running back in the NFL. I'll give him that. Absolutely, I'll give him that all day. Just on landing spot alone. Ashton Jeanty has to be Derrick Henry, or he has to be in that vicinity of player to win this trade. If Hampton is not a bust, and he's probably not a bust, so that's the level of conviction you need on the Jeanty side, and on the Hampton side, you just got to be sure, like, hey, he's going to be fucking good.
Yeah, I think that's good value. Like throwing a 2026 first for and Amari Hampton for Jeanty. But I feel that sure about Jeanty. Like today, as we speak, he's ranked number 3 in the dynasty world when it comes to RBs. He has, and I'm higher on him than you are in going into year 1. But I believe in Pete Carroll and I believe in Chip Kelly. Like Chip Kelly produces
that's true.
Great fantasy running backs.
That's true.
They pass catches, they run the ball. I believe in this guy, man. So even though that's amazing value for Jeanty, I kind of want to lean with the guy that I feel is a superstar. So I'm leaning Jeanty on this.
And like Greg Roman's track record of producing fantasy studs, granted he's had a lot of bad luck with like J.K. Dobbins' knees getting torn up. Gus Edwards also tore his knee up.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't really done it. Like he inherited Frank Gore in San Francisco, who was already an established star, and kept on running him. But like in Baltimore, it just it kind of kept not happening for him. And then last year, like the Chargers, a team that again wanted to run the ball just like they wanted to in Baltimore, somehow just couldn't produce a guy. So yeah, Chip Kelly's track record is better than Greg Roman's. I'm totally on board with that. Chip Kelly is an offensive genius. Greg Roman is a yes man of Jim Harbaugh's. Like let's just call it what it is. He's competent, but Chip Kelly's better. So yeah, no, I would go the Jeanty side there, just because like we're talking about if there's a 50-50 chance that Ashton Jeanty is one of the 2 or 3 best running backs in the NFL right now. Maybe not that high, but it's in that vicinity. I mean that the people forget like I'd rather have 2 I'd rather have the wide receiver 9 and the wide receiver 10 than the wide receiver 3. No, you wouldn't, because people forget about you can only two low end wide receiver 1s take up what, Lou? 2 lineup spots. So there's the opportunity cost there of like this guy. He's so efficient with your lineup spot most weeks that he wins you matchups. So yeah, if Genty hits as hard as we're thinking, like kind of top end, it's the Genty side, no brainer. And that's not even adjusting for the fact that I'm still skeptical about Amari and Hampton. I'm deep in the minority there, but I am like still a little bit skeptical. I need to see it first.
And that's fair, because I know we've had this conversation where, like, you know, the school he played for, how he had open lanes, and I saw it on film, so I understand where you're coming from. I'm a bit higher on Amari Hampton than you are. In fact, I was willing to take him number 3 overall in a rookie draft. I kind of had him penciled in right there. So, but I understand where you're coming from. So, like, I get it.
Wait, do we drink? I think we have to switch.
We're drinking on that.
I'll drink a little more. Okay, so my next one. What else do I got here? I'm getting toward the bottom. Oh yes, another Fantasy Index faithful. Stuttering John asks, and if you knew what Stuttering John's old username was, you'll be glad that it's now Stuttering John. Stuttering John asks, should I take a 26 second and third? So 2 26 picks, a second and a third, for Justin Fields. That's a tough one. What do you think? We're assuming Superflex.
Say that one more time. My bad.
He's got Fields, and somebody offered him a 2026 second. We don't know what it is, and a 2026 third to walk away from Justin Fields. 12 months ago.
Oh man, that's Fields.
12 months ago, you'd have taken it.
Yeah, but right now, today, that's Fields all day. I would pay that for Fields. Yeah.
I agree.
He's guaranteed to be the starting quarterback year 1. He might earn the opportunity to try again year 2. He presents top 10 and maybe even top 5 fantasy quarterback.
Not top 5.
You don't think so with 10. The rushing upside?
Not top 5.
Okay, let's say top 10. Let's say top 10. Yeah. But he presents top 10 fantasy upside. So for a second and a third, man, yeah, I'll trade that for Fields.
If I told you Justin Fields was going to be the QB9 in fantasy this year, and then on the last day of the season he is going to retire, he'll be done with in the NFL. That alone still might be in Superflex.
Yeah,
that alone might be worth it.
Still worth it.
So yeah, it's Fields for sure.
That's a done deal, man. So how many more trades do you have on your side?
I got 2 more.
Okay, so we're gonna drink on that.
Yeah. Come on.
And then I hope you have a pen and hopefully you have a pen and paper if you need me to repeat. But I'm gonna list a large one. This one is a Superflex league.
Okay.
Posted by Timothy in our Discord channel. We have on one side R.J. Harvey, Kaleb Johnson, Taj Brooks. It's a big one, man. 2028 second.
What is it?
2026 third. 2028 second. So we're already dealing 2028s, man. So, and then on the other side, we have Amari Hampton, Matthew Golden, DJ Giddens, and a 2026 fourth.
For fuck's sake.
Let me know if you need me to repeat.
Hampton, Golden, what else?
Giddens, and a 2026 fourth.
God. The Harvey side, I guess. Well,
I guess.
Okay, if you love Hampton, the Hampton side. If you like Hampton, the Kaleb Johnson side. How's that?
Okay. So, which one are you sticking with, you think? If it was you.
I'll be honest. I'm kind of in like with Kaleb Johnson. I was very skeptical of the landing. I'm still very skeptical of the landing spot. I don't like the Steelers' offense at all. It's outside of the Giants. It's like my least favorite offense in the NFL at this point. It really is. But good God, like sometimes you just see a player in an NFL uniform standing next to other NFL players for their first time, and you go, God damn, is that Kaleb Johnson? Look at that motherfucker. Like, when I saw Kaleb Johnson lined up with NFL dudes, I was like, God damn, this guy's for real. This guy he's the closest thing I've seen to Derrick Henry on a football field since Derrick Henry. Physically, just watching him move, like just his conformation. He's very high-waisted for a guy his size, like Derrick Henry. Like, does that mean he's going to be Derrick Henry? No, of course not. But his collegiate production was already a little Henry-esque as like a big guy who was still a threat to go the distance every time he touched the ball. That's Derrick Henry. So there's a real chance that Kaleb Johnson is better than Amarian Hampton for me. I know how spicy that is.
I don't hate it. It's spicy. Yeah, I like it. So I'm on the opposite end. Like the way I kind of look at it is like when I break it down, it's like I take Amari Hampton, and then I feel like Kaleb Johnson in the 2028 because it's so far back. Amari Hampton beats that, so I feel like Amari Hampton wins that. Then I kind of line up RJ Harvey and Matthew Golden. And mind you, I'm not a big Golden guy, but I understand his value. I understand his draft capital. So I feel like Matthew Golden and RJ Harvey are kind of like even. And then I feel like DJ Giddens beats out Taj Brooks for me. I love DJ Giddens. I love the fact that he's backing up Jonathan Taylor. And then honestly, like the 2026 third and the 2026 fourth, just like toss those. I don't give a shit, right? So,
but Giddens
from my perspective,
Giddens and Brooks aren't far from that. Let's be real. I love Brooks. You love Giddens. They're not far from that. This is about Kaleb and RJ versus Amarian Hampton and Matthew Golden, and the rest is window dressing. So, at the very least,
that, I'm on the Amarian Hampton side.
Yeah, and that's fair. As well, most people should be. I mean, if he hits his ceiling, that's 1,500 yards a year. I mean, that is. So, no, I'm with that. But I love Kaleb Johnson, so we don't drink. All right, so I got a couple more. Stifler, American Pie, who is not in the Fantasy Index Discord. Shame on you, Stifler. Stifler asked,
get in there, man.
Which side would you take? Devontae Smith plus Christian McCaffrey, or Bucky Irving plus Ricky Pearsall? You know, I saw you fork over the whole rookie class damn near for Christian McCaffrey in a league, so I know you're still a believer. But Devontae and McCaffrey versus Irving and Pearsall, I think I got to go the Irving side. I'm just not. Devontae Smith, I will say Devontae Smith had some elite metrics last year. He had a huge target share. The biggest target share of a number 2 wide receiver in the league. Granted, the Eagles didn't throw the ball a ton, but he's still a real guy. We need to, Devontae Smith is not Jalen Waddle. He's not a guy that we need to have be terribly suspicious of. But he is still the ceiling is real. The ceiling for volume and whatnot is real there, with AJ Brown still at the height of his powers. Bucky Irving already took over, and Ricky Pearsall could. So yeah, for me, it's the Irving side.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I love CMC. I do, and CMC is a league-winning running back. But at the moment, Bucky Irving's value is so high at the moment that I already know. Like, if I was a Bucky Irving owner, I could probably put him on the trade block and get something even higher up than this deal says. And then Devontae Smith. He's such a good wide receiver, but I don't know if he's ever going to overcome AJ Brown. Where Pearsall, there's a realistic chance that maybe he becomes a target leader with the 49ers. I don't think Devontae Smith is going to do that.
Not anytime soon.
So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think I'm gonna, which sounds weird saying out loud because I love the guys on the other side, but sure. I think I'm leaning Irving and Pearsall with you.
I came out pretty hard against Kyron Williams in Dynasty 12 months ago, going into 2024. So he'd already done it. I said basically, I'm not saying he can't do it again, but I think the risk is real. I think the risk is real that he's if not a one-hit wonder, then like a two-hit wonder, because he's not big and he's fucking slow. Like, let's be real, guys. Like, is he really going to do it again? He came out and he fucking did it again, and he's going to do it again in 2025. So I learned my lesson. Bucky Irving, I'm not going to question it. The Bucs love him. The Bucs, the Buccaneers as an organization, as an offense, they're now in the top tier for me. They're up there with the Rams, with the Lions, where it's like, if they say a guy is good, then he is good. I don't get to say that they're wrong. So to that end, I probably need to shut the fuck up about Emeka Egbuka. But like, the Buccaneers are in love with this guy. Rachaad White is fucking on milk cartons because Bucky Irving is so beloved by this Buccaneers regime. So yeah, it's the Irving side. We drink. All right, what you got? Sling it.
Let's go with another trade from TB. We have DJ Moore, a 2026 second, and a 2027 third for Jaxon Smith-Njigba.
Oh. So, kind of like with McConkey, obviously there's a lot of love in the room for JSN right now. Who would you say relative to their market price? I know this is kind of a nebulous question, but who would you say relative to their current market prices, approximately, people are more gassed up on right now in Dynasty? McConkey or JSN?
I think, without pulling anything up, I think people are more gassed up about McConkey, but I would draft JSN over McConkey.
I also.
I'm actually curious now. Let me pull this. I'm gonna pull that up right now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna answer that for you. McConkey is ADP. Currently in Dynasty Startups is 28th, wide receiver 11.
Sure.
And Jaxon Smith-Njigba is wide receiver 12 at 31.
Oh, they're bang bang. Okay.
So they're 2 spots apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would prefer JSN. Personally, I would. The answer is probably JSN just because DJ Moore, he's not old. He's in that weird transitional point where he's not old, but he's not young. DJ Moore's been in the league like 7 years. Like he got in young as hell.
Yeah, he did.
Let's just lay it all out there. There's been some chatter about effort level and not showing up the quarterback showing up the team regarding DJ Moore between him and Ben Johnson. Like that's happening right now.
Body language too.
I'm not saying that I think Cooper Kupp is a meaningful threat to JSN's volume, but I will say he is obviously, news alert, he's a much different player, a much different quantity in the offense than a DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf and JSN do not drink from the same end of the trough. They never did. That's why it worked. Cooper Kupp could push JSN outside, and there's already murmurs from Seahawks camp, from the Seahawks beat writers, that is what's happening near the red zone. Now, that's not necessarily bad news. We don't know that JSN can't produce lined up on the perimeter. We don't know that. But you don't want to be if you're the guy, you should be not be getting moved off your mark by a 31-year-old in town on basically a 2-year deal. I mean, they said he got 3 years, $45 million, whatever. They could tear it up after year 1 if they wanted to. So, we want the guy that's going to have more of the slot. I mean, of course we want JSN. Who doesn't love JSN? But for 2025 purposes, for this offense, we want the guy that's going to line up in the slot more of the time, like we do a lot of the time in a lot of the offenses in the league right now. There's a real chance it's Kupp. There's a real chance Kupp is going to snap JSN out of the slot. Is that necessarily bad for JSN? I don't know. He's a great player. I'm not saying he can't eat from the outside. And Clint Kubiak, the new OC in Seattle. I mean, you saw what the Saints did in September last year before everybody got hurt. They took the Eagles to the wire in whatever week four, whatever it was. Like, that was a good ass team before everything went wrong. So Clint Kubiak, we're cautiously optimistic. But let's not assume that JSN is going to blow Kupp out of the water volume-wise. Let's not make that mistake. If Kupp stays healthy, I think you've got like a Puka Devontae type of volume, break even here potentially. Where like, is Puka going to catch 10 more balls than Adams? Yeah, maybe. Adams is going to have more touchdowns, though. And Kupp has been a red zone monster throughout his career. So JSN, I'm putting JSN under double-digit touchdowns for 2025. Personally, that's where I'm at right now. Is Darnold going to come out and throw 40 touchdowns? Probably not. Maybe. He did last year, whatever it was, 35. But let's be real, like, he's still Sam Darnold. We're very skeptical. This offensive line is way worse. So we'll see. Cooper Kupp is going to get his 8 or 9 touchdowns. He still has enough in the tank, I believe, for that. So juxtapose that with DJ Moore. Where is DJ Moore with these Chicago Bears? We don't know yet. Odunze is a second-year player, has a lot of potential, a lot of it's untapped.
Luther Burden,
who is already missing all of OTAs now with a soft tissue injury, so that sucks. Loveland has been hurt. He's out. So at the very least, DJ Moore, even with all the noise, is primed to start hot if these Bears are for real. DJ Moore had a huge target share for the Bears last year. Granted, that was under different coaching staff. So anyway, we've chased it around and around. It's DJ Moore plus some flyer picks. That's the problem. If it was DJ Moore in a first, I think you'd have a real discussion here. But the second could be like a bum like Trey Harris. So, I just can't.
How dare you?
I'm taking pot shots on Luke. Yeah, I got to go JSN, but it's not as obvious as it should be, if that makes sense.
For me, I feel like it's an easy accept, and the reason why is because you're resetting the clock, man, on a very talented wide receiver. So DJ Moore is very good, but for a second and a third, like, give me JSN. Let me. I think JSN is 24 at the moment, without looking anything up. And he flashed last year. He finally flashed. Oh, was he 23?
I think so. He came out young.
So let me reset the clock. Get a guy that I believe is super talented, who should be the number one wide receiver in his offense. So JSN side for me.
I wouldn't hate the other end though. I really wouldn't. Like DJ
Moore's solid, man.
There's a scenario where DJ Moore is done in Chicago after 2026. Even then, though, like DJ Moore goes on to wherever, back to Carolina, Las Vegas, wherever the wind takes him. I don't think he's going to be gassed then. DJ Moore is a dude. DJ Moore is still very much a dude.
He's a baller, man.
So yeah, all right. So I think we drink. All right, I got one more for us. Then we can round out with your last one. All right, my last one is kind of a fatty. D Schwartz 27. What up, D Schwartz 27? Also not in the server. For shame. D Schwartz asks, which side would you take in a Superflex full PPR? Saquon Barkley and Mike Evans, 2 first ballots. Other side, Garrett Wilson, Kaleb Johnson, 2027 first, likely late. That's tough.
If I'm a competitor, I don't like the idea of getting rid of Saquon Barkley, but I'm really high on Garrett Wilson going into this next year. Like, I think that established relationship with him and Justin Fields, I think he's gonna just get peppered this season. What you're saying about Kaleb Johnson, big ass dude, I think he's a good fit for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Outside of him being big, he got clocked at 21 miles an hour. I'm excited about that.
I'm saying.
And then just a dart throw 2027 first, which is projected late, but who the hell knows, right?
Right.
So I think with those guys, if I need to, like, it's a good reset, man. Like, what, Wilson's 24, 20. How old is Garrett Wilson at the moment?
24, yeah.
Caleb is young, and then you got the pick. It's a good reset. It's a good price to reset at.
Yeah. If Saquon Barkley doesn't blow up again, like Saquon Barkley, obviously he was the RB1 last year. He's poised to potentially be the RB1 again this year as long as he stays healthy. If Barkley doesn't blow up again in 2024, say he just has a very good 1,500 yards, the efficiency pulls back, he gets 11 touchdowns. And Mike Evans, whatever. Mike Evans is near the end. We love Mike Evans. He's the man, but obviously he's near the end. If Barkley doesn't give you 1 or 2 more years of elite production, you're going to lose this trade bad. You're going to lose this trade
Exactly.
real bad. So yeah, it feels, if you're somebody who cares about winning, which again is not always a given in dynasty trade chat circles, then giving away Saquon Barkley and Evans for two guys who, like, yeah, Garrett Wilson and Kaleb Johnson are really talented, but they're in gross offenses. Saquon and Evans are in fantastic offenses that will help you win right now. So you are going to win later here.
Yeah.
You're going to win a lot later here, potentially. So, but these are the right type of guys to do it for. If the Jets suck this year, Garrett Wilson's going to escape. He's going to pull a George Pickens and orchestrate his departure. So that'd be cool because fuck the Jets. sorry, Breece. Sorry, Billiam in the F5 server. But yeah, no, it's the Garrett Wilson side. In Dynasty, something like this, you got to pull the trigger, even if it feels wrong. It's right.
Awesome. Let's drink up on that, man.
One more trade.
My final trade.
That's all the beer I got.
Oh.
If we agree, I'm out of beer.
Oh shit. Anyways, just pretend, man. Pretend.
Right.
So this final trade I was gonna mention to make you drink because I already know what side you're gonna lean towards, but fuck it, let's go.
Set me up.
So this is posted by Corey, who wins the deal. We have Jalen Waddle and Matthew Golden for my guy, the alpha of the Texans, Nico Collins.
Yeah, you know what's up. It's I still understand.
You gotta go out. You gotta go with the alpha, man.
I still understand. Hold on. I understand the argument for Jalen Waddle still. It's a major buy low at this point for sure. Tyreek Hill is gonna go away. Like he obviously the Dolphin. Tyreek Hill pushed it toward divorce as far as you possibly could before the team says, "All right, you know what? That's enough. We've had enough of the bullshit. You're no longer quite good enough to justify this. Get the fuck out. Go have fun in Las Vegas, Tyreek. Thanks for playing." So eventually that's going to happen. It could happen as soon as this spring. Good. Jalen Waddle, as a rookie, had like 110 receptions. Hello? I mean, granted, that was on the Brian Flores Dolphins, and he's probably never going to do anything like that again. But he then also had like 17 yards a catch in the first year of the Mike McDaniel era in Miami. So a versatile player at the very least when healthy. If you like Chris Olave, you still have to like Jalen Waddle. Let's just put it that way. In fact, you have to like Jalen Waddle.
I would buy in on Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. And Matthew Golden, I'm not super into it, but he's attached to Jordan Love, who could take the star turn if the Packers decide they want to throw the football in 2025. They decided they didn't want to in the second half of 2024 because the receivers sucked. So if Matthew Golden's for real, great. But Nico Collins, that guy, he's already one of the 5 best receivers in the NFL, probably. And what
a beast.
What a trajectory. Like, he was, he wasn't falling out of the league by year 3, but like he had done nothing. And then D'Amico Ryans comes in and changes Nico Collins' fucking earning potential in a big way. So yeah, Nico Collins is the man. He was on track for like a top 4 finish at wide receiver last year before the hamstring pull, early on in the season. So yeah, those guys win you leagues. It's Nico.
If you watch Texans games in full, there was so many penalties called back on him on big plays and touchdowns,
right?
That just got wiped away. Right. Like there were several. Like, by the way,
the 2023 Calvin Ridley effect in Jacksonville, where like if he had caught all those, touchdowns where he got 1 foot down, it'd be a much different story. Yeah, no, and Nico's the man, and his best season ever in his career to date could easily be in 2025, for sure. So, yeah, we drink.
Definitely.
All right, Lou. We came, we saw, we conquered. From sold out shows to sold out concerts. I'm not sure that's the Jay-Z lyric, but it's close. Is Jay-Z canceled? I don't know if I should be doing Jay-Z lyrics.
I think he's still like semi-canceled, man. I think we'll wait to see what happens.
I'm gonna snip that out of there. When I listened to Jay-Z, he wasn't canceled yet, okay? So don't at me out there, guys. Cut me some slack. I'm an old man. All right, we'll be back with you folks. Now that Lou, did we disperse the curse?
We covered everything. I think we dispersed the curse, and I know you ran out of your drink, But in honor, on our third attempt to get this show out, we covered some good content. Luke, give me a little cling on the camera screen.
Clinky, clinky, clinky.
Cheers, man.
I got a little bit of that.
Cheers.
I saved a little bit just in case. All right.
Appreciate anybody viewing, tuning back in. We love doing this, man. We love talking fantasy football. We do this for our Fantasy Index Discord channel, so if you're not already there, please join. Participate in our water cooler channel as our general chat. You can ask questions in our Dynasty channel, trade channel. Like, we are here to help. Okay,
and
so join in.
Lou's wife has set up a Patreon account for him. Please send him a couple dollars on his Patreon account. She said if he doesn't start making some money from this, she's not going to let him do it anymore. And she sounds serious. When I talked to her on the phone earlier,
So serious.
she sounded mad. Put some money on Lou's commissary, guys, or he's good.
Please. So I need to
him.
inform my wife that she said this, by the way.
All right.
But
we've drank, we talked, we conquered, we talked about the boys. Let's do it all again next week. Let's talk about some more boys.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be
forward
great.
to it.
Yes. Episode 12 coming your way next week. For now, have a good evening, folks. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Bye.